Today I want to talk to you guys about bridges. How many bridges do you guys think you cross over on any given day? Whoa. How many different types of bridges do you know about? You might be able to tell me about some famous bridges, like the Golden Gate Bridge, which is a suspension bridge. Or you might be able to tell me about how the main bridge downtown has spans, or that when you were canoeing, you saw a bridge that was like a stone arch. Most of the time, you don't ever think about bridges. They blend right into the scenery. But sometimes, some are very famous. Like the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, or the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City, or the Tower Bridge in London. But each bridge, no matter where it is located, is unique. And each bridge is going to have its own set of design challenges. For example, across the Merrimack River between Georgetown and Methuen, there are 3 bridges. There's the Rocks Village Bridge, there's the Groveland Bridge. I'm sorry, there's 4 bridges. There's the Basilier Bridge, and then there's the County Bridge. And each one of those bridges is different because each one is built in a different location. They are spanning the river that might be slightly different widths. They are in different parts of a settled community. So each bridge is unique. When designing a bridge, you have to think about what is the obstacle that you are trying to get past. How much is this bridge going to be used? Is it just going to be foot traffic? Is it going to be cars? Is it going to be people walking and cars? So how much use is the bridge going to get? What is the kind of traffic that's going to be going over that bridge? Is it just going to be horses and buggies? Or is it going to be automobiles? Is it going to be 10,000 automobiles? Is it going to be automobiles and big trucks? I don't know. These are all things that engineers have to think about when they are building bridges. What was the first bridge? The first bridges were basically logs or trees that had fallen over. That were going across your stream. This is not very reliable. Because as you are walking along and you have to pass over a wide, deep stream, you can't always count on the fact that there's going to be a log falling across your stream exactly where you want to cross it. You can't always count that that log isn't going to be super rotted out, and you can't always count that your horse or your wagon is going to be able to cross over that log as well. Sorry, I went to change my pen and instead changed the whole screen. So, waiting around for a fallen log is not the best way to get across a river. So, people decided that they would make bridges. The next bridges were made from ropes and boards. You might think that this would probably come to mind if you recall Jumanji or any jungle adventure movie where your explorer has to walk across a very high ravine by crossing a rope bridge. It's going to look like this. Usually they are very rickety and always over a very high cliff. And here's my little river way down below. Anyway, these don't hold up well. They're okay for foot traffic. So these are good for foot traffic. Maybe they're okay if you have a pack animal. They're not good at all if you're going to have a wagon. So they're good for foot traffic, not heavy loads. But people still need a way to get across an obstacle without going miles and miles and miles out of their way. The Romans had a really good big army, and they needed a way to get that army all over Europe quickly and efficiently. And so they were really good at building roads. And they came up with a design of stone arches. So these stone arch bridges, some of which still stand today. Some of them still built for the Roman army to cross streams and rivers, made from stones that have no mortar or glue holding it together. It is just held together by the weight of the stones pressing down on one another. Some of these stones hold each other in place. And some of these bridges are still in use today. So some of these bridges that support cars and trucks have been around for literally thousands of years. You guys could probably name the 3 types of bridges once I tell them to you. You go, oh yeah. Bridges come in many shapes and sizes, but today they are variations of 3 main types. The first type is the beam. This is the simplest and the least expensive to make. And as its name suggests, it is quite literally a beam with 2 supports on each end. The supports can be called columns or piers. The beam is supported at each end by the piers. P-I-E-R, by the piers. The beam cannot be so big that it sags in the center. So the beam must be able to support its own weight. And the weight of whatever is crossing it. So that is the load. So you might imagine that a way that engineers get around this is they use shorter beams. And they've created a bridge that is actually made up of several beams. And underneath, they put a second layer of support. And so this is a beam, this is a beam, and this is a beam. And these supports are called trusses. Here is my pier, and here are my beams. So many of our railroad bridge are trussel bridges. So most have trusses for added support. But one drawback is this type of bridge, the beam bridge, usually only span up to 61 meters. So that's not very far. They're simple, they're inexpensive to make, but they are not very expansive. So they have to be short bridges. The second type of bridge is our Roman arch bridge. This is the oldest bridges still in existence today. So the oldest standing bridges are arch bridges. And these are the strongest bridges. They've withstood time and earthquakes and floods. They really stand up. And one of the reasons why they stand up so well is that force is not pushed straight down. So force is not straight down onto the bridge. STRAIGHT. But spread out over the archway. And it is this force of compression that holds all of the stones in place and spreads any forces acting on the bridge out over the whole bridge. Arch bridges are able to span 30 to 500 meters, which is about 100 to 1,500 feet. So an arch bridge can cross a really wide river, or maybe I'm going to have a couple of arches to spread to span that really wide river. My third type of bridge that you see today is called the suspension bridge. This is what the Golden Gate Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge are. They are both suspension bridges. We have two types. We have modern and we have cable stayed. A modern bridge is shaped like an M. It has two main towers with a main cable running from tower to tower, with other little cables coming off of that main cable. And a cable stayed suspension bridge is A-shaped. This has a beam, just like the modern one, and usually two columns. Only all of the cables are coming off of those columns, so they look like the letter A. Those are the three main types of bridges. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you guys about what kind of forces act on the bridges and things that you need to think about if you were making a bridge.